Worries on my mind, it's been a tough week. My life feels a void, there's something that I need. My supplies on the table, I grab a comfy seat. I need to craft to put my mind at ease. Crafting changed my life, it mends my soul. In my happy space, I'm in full control. It's crafting time, craft my troubles away. Give me a world of color to brighten up my day. Crafting videos on, searching what I can do. Sipping on my drink, feeling inspired and new. Crafting's good for the soul, it's so true. Bringing beauty into the world through. As I craft, my spirits start to climb. It's not just a pastime, it's a state of mind. It's more than just a hobby, it's a way of life. I express myself, everything is feeling just right. It changed my life, it mends my soul. In my happy space, I'm in control. It's crafting time, craft my troubles away. Give me a world of color to brighten up my day. Crafting videos on, searching what I can do. Sipping on my drink, feeling inspired and new.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. We see people tuning in from all over the place in the chat, and it is going away here. Awesome. Seems like some people got a really nice start this morning and did some gardening. Awesome. That's awesome. And we've got people from all over the place, from Maryland, San Antonio, Texas, Vernon, Texas. Awesome. There's my friends from Canada. How are you? Good morning. All righty. Good morning, everyone. Yes. Awesome. Cindy got some gardening work, so good for you. Awesome. Okay. Great. Well, guys, TGI Friday, right? Yes. It's Friday. Yay. We can do our little happy dance. Lisa, for those that are not retired yet, we're kind of like, yay. Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in. I really appreciate you giving me all your support. This is amazing. So, I've got an exciting weekend coming up because my son is competing this weekend. So I will not be streaming tomorrow on our regular Saturday craft afternoons because my son will be competing with Special Olympics on the stand-up paddleboarding competition. So we're going to be there doing that, and that's going to be a big morning there. So I really won't be able to stream because we pretty much have to be there early in the morning. And yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. That's a picture of him, and he's competed for several years. It's one of the things he really likes to do. He likes to do stand-up paddleboarding a lot. So we love it, and we love the team, and we love supporting him. So lots and lots of fun. So I will be back on Monday with you guys. Okay, let's see. So guys, if you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Nancy, and I host these daily sessions to just talk about all kinds of crafting things. Sometimes we do demos, little projects, things like that. So if that's something that you're into, you're definitely in the right place. Alrighty, so go ahead and grab your drink, folks, because it is Friday, and we're going to have our nice little cozy little drink, and I think a little virtual food truck is on its way. And you guys can have anything you want. And I think we got some extra snacks sitting in that truck today. So I think it's coming down the road. Do we see that down the road? There it is. All right, guys, we've got some extra snacks because it is Friday. So, you know, some extra little pastries and muffins. We've got some bagels in there and coffee and tea. And of course, we didn't forget, for those of you who are really into their veggies in the morning, we've got the carrots and kale for you as well. So we didn't forget about you guys. Awesome. So I hope you guys can get a little bit of anything that's in there, and I hope you enjoy that. It's calorie free. All right, let me take one little sip here. I've still got my water going this morning. Water, 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 right? And that kind of will jumpstart me for now, and then I'll have my coffee later. Okay, so we are on a journey to do a pattern from the book Pumpkin Hill. It's an applique whimsical quilting pattern. So this is what we've kind of been working on. And again, we're not doing the whole quilt. We're just taking a piece of it, little section, and we're trying out two different techniques that they have outlined on the book. So we're doing the two techniques, and we're just going to do a little wall hanging with it. So I selected just the top corner here, which is two little acorns. I'm not going to do it exactly the way the book has it outlined here with two little acorns. I'm going to kind of spice it up, make it a little wall hanging, and just kind of make it my own. So that's what we've been working on. And then yesterday, we took a look at the first applique technique. But let me just bring this over here. The first thing that we had to do, hold on, I've got all these little pieces on here. Let me just flip it. I think it'll be easier. The first thing we had to do was kind of quilt our background, right? And I'll flip it. There we go. Don't want to lose all my little pieces. There we go. So the first thing we did was quilt this. And so we did a little cross hatch here. And we did this simply with our sewing machine. But like I explained, you can do it several different ways. There's always like a million ways to do one thing, right, guys? So we did it with our sewing machine. You could do it with an embroidery machine. You know, there's tons of different methods you can use. You don't have to do the cross hatch. You could do any simple background design that you choose. And one thing I forgot to show you guys, because I had mentioned that I had done this crosshatch method before, so I wanted to kind of bring in a couple of samples of some projects that I did with the crosshatch. So you'll see here, I don't know if you guys could see that very well. So this is a little bag that I made, and it does have the quilted crosshatch on here. So I was able to kind of do this. And I did this a couple of years ago, I guess. It's just a simple little bag. And I've got all kinds of little goodies in here, mostly my yarn stuff that I can kind of take on the go when I am kind of traveling around and need to kind of bring a little project with me. So I do have two of them. One has the different colored zippers. One has the red zipper. The other one has a little gold type. So I just tried out different things here. And I just wanted to show you that, you know, you can do this crosshatch method is not just for background quilting. You can do it for bags as well. And so it really gives a really nice textured look to the fabric. And so it allows you to, you know, do all kinds of different projects on here. I mean, I've got like tons of stuff that I put in my bags. I kind of load them pretty heavy. Got some crocheted items in here that we've been working on. So it's just, you know, lots of little projects. And it does, you know, it's pretty big, can hold a lot in here. But, you know, you can use that crosshatch for several different things. Doesn't have to be just for quilting, you know, and doing it as like a background. You can also use this for a bag. And I really like the way it just gives the texture to your project. So, you know, depending what you're doing, you know, you can do a lot with this method. Okay, so let me just close this up here. Got lots in here. I'm always carrying something with me. All right, so we've got that background, and then we went ahead and we did the needle turn applique technique, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Hang on, I just don't want to lose all my pieces here. Let me kind of bring this to the sides. I don't want anything to fall. And so we have here, I ended up doing 2. I'm going to put this book right on top. There we go. Okay. So I ended up doing 2 of them instead of like the book has just the one applique here and one applique there, and that's it. I decided to do 2 because my block is much bigger. The book says 6.5. I decided to do 10, right? So because I'm doing a wall hanging, so I did 10 inches. 10-inch squared on each one, and then we sewed it together and did the quilting on it. We did the needle turn applique, and I can tell you guys, I just don't know if I'm a fan of the needle turn applique, because all I kept thinking in my head is there's better ways of doing this that will be a lot quicker. And I told you guys we'd be doing the 2 methods from the book, and then I'll also be doing a method using my scan and cut. And in the back of my head, I just kept thinking, my scan and cut would make this so much easier. Now, let me tell you where I kind of struggled a little bit here. So, once you have your patterns all cut out, and we use the freezer paper, right, to kind of trace our template, you then have to take that, that 1/4-inch seam allowance that you left and fold it underneath, and then go ahead with a needle and thread and tack this down, right? And I had a really hard time kind of holding that 1/4-inch seam underneath here as I was stitching here. So I ended up taking a little bit of glue, and I just kind of dabbed it every once in a while in a place where I needed it to kind of stay down so that I can grab it with the needle and thread. So I did do that, and that did help to be able to bring it down. But then I kept thinking, why aren't they just using heat and bond? You know, why can't we just use the heat and bond? I understand we don't want the raw edges to show, but you can still use the heat and bond to help you hold it down and anchor it in. So I did that with the second one. Actually, I think this was the first one. This one was the second one. And so it has a little bit of heat and bond, actually. Yeah, this is the one with the heat and bond on it. And this one does not have it. This one was just the plain, you know, sewing in the bottom. And the way the technique tells you to do is it asks you to kind of go underneath the fabric, right? You basically do not want your threads to show on the top, and you don't want them to show on the back either. So you see that none of this on the back, you cannot see any of the threads. Okay, and that's because you don't put your needle all the way through. You're only picking up this top layer, and if you want, you can pick up some of the batting, but you don't want to pick up that last layer of fabric. And so then I just using my needle and thread, I just kind of went around and just tacked it down. But it was kind of hard to finagle with the needle and thread going through just the first 2 layers, plus having to battle keeping the fold underneath and the shape that you want. And so it was a little difficult, I can tell you. I struggled with it a bit. I still was not too real happy with the end. So I thought, we're going to need to spice this up. Now we're going to use the other method today, which is the spray starch method, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to add a little bit more to this. So I just wanted to kind of demo what I'm going to be doing to kind of spice this up, because to me, it's kind of, we're not doing the whole quilt. I want this to be a wall hanging, and that to me kind of looked a little boring. So we need to spice it up. Of course, we're going to trim this down, and we're going to add the borders to it. But I wanted to kind of add a little bit of more things. So I'm going to add a little welcome here, and you're not going to see the background. This is just to kind of give you guys an idea. I did went ahead and I cut this out. So we'll do some welcome home on it. I think that kind of brightens it up, gives it a little bit of color. So I'm going to look to see if I can find similar fonts to this. And maybe with my scan and cut, I think I'm just going to lay these down so you can see welcome home here. And then we're going to do the acorns on the bottom. And I'll just use the freezer paper to kind of demonstrate. I think we're just going to do something like this. Let's see. That will be so cute. Oh, yeah, thanks, Robin. I think it's, it's a little better. I really just was not too fond of it. I don't know. Something about it just wasn't getting me there. But I think that's what we're going to do, and I probably lost that little tiny piece. I think I lost that little piece, but that's okay. We'll get another stem and we'll put the stem there. So yeah, it's in the end, it'll be fine. But I think this kind of gives it a little bit more, right? So this is what I'll do. And then, I'll add kind of some tabs up on the top so that I can hang it. So let me know, what do you guys think? Will this layout work? I can kind of move things around and make the acorns kind of straight instead of tilted. I can move this around this way. I just didn't want it to seem so square, and so we angled the letters a little bit here. And I think that kind of works. And I don't want it to be like right on the seam right. I want it to be off-centered. I don't want it to look like it's, so stringent and like right on there. So that's where I'm kind of going with this. So you had problems with the needle turn too? Yeah. I did too, Wanda. Yeah, so I could have it straight like this, or I can have it facing outwards. Which way do you guys prefer to see it? I'll just kind of move it this way. This is it facing outwards, right? I've got these two facing in, and then I've got these two facing out. So which way do you think is the right way? What do you prefer? Am I using vinyl or fabric with the scan and cut? I'm probably going to use fabric. Yeah, I think I'll just use some fabric on here. I'll do the letters, and then I'll cut out the letters with the fabric. Maybe do some heat and bond on the back. That's probably what I'm going to do. So we could do this way. We could do this way to kind of follow what we have here. So I don't know. We could kind of, this will go this way. So there's different ways. The outward, Jenny says outward. Outward this way. Yeah. Or is that inner? I think I like this look better. Right? Something similar to that. So this is where we're kind of going with and what we're going to end up with. We're going to go ahead and we're going to trace, we're going to scan the letters If I can't find a good font that I want to use, then we'll probably scan something like this with the scan and cut and just do it that way. How about staggered? Acorns upside down. And staggered. Yeah, we could do staggered too. Kind of make it look like it's falling, basically. Or yeah, maybe even upside down. Make it look like it fell down, right? We're going to kind of play with that. Not quite sure exactly how we're going to do that. But yeah, we're going to kind of make it look like it's kind of just fell off the tree type of thing. We could do that. Yeah, and then just kind of stagger it around. But it's more or less, I wanted to kind of give you just the idea of where I was going to go with this. It'll kind of fill it up more a little bit, and then we'll add the borders, and I'll put the little tabs on the top to kind of hang it here. I would curve the home, yep, convex the opposite way. Oh, so make it like a circle, and kind of what she's saying is the home would actually be this way instead. That's an idea too, yeah, to kind of just complete the circle almost. Yeah, we could play with that as well. I could print out another template having it go the other way and see which one we like better. Overlap them slightly. Another idea. We could do something like that too. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so good ideas. I think you guys you're getting the concept of where I'm going. So this definitely helps. Not 100% which way I'm going to go, but let's kind of get started on the method and then see where that takes us. So I'm going to move this over to the side here. Before we get into the method, let's go ahead and move over to our first segment of the crafting news. And if you're doing this along with me, I know a couple of you guys mentioned that you are purchasing the book or have purchased the book. Let me know which method you preferred, and let me know, or put a picture on Facebook, because I like to see what fabrics you picked out and how you ended up laying it out, whether you did the wall hanging or if you ended up doing the quilt. Let us know what you guys are up to. Okay. Also, I would add some orangey leaves to it. That's a nice idea, Sandra. Yeah, give it a little bit more pop of color, right? I like that. I definitely can. I believe the Scan and Cut has some leaves as one of their objects in there. So I'll play around with that idea. Thanks. I think I like that. Okay. All right. So let's head over to our crafting news and see what we've got going on. Okay. So let's see, we're going to head over to Scottsdale, Pennsylvania. And we've got a group of passionate quilters that just celebrated their big 30th anniversary. So they first came together back in 1995 when a small newspaper ad invited local quilters to start something new. 15 folks showed up that day, and they were full of ideas and heart. And from that one little spark, a beautiful community was born. Today, the guild is going strong with 49 members from all around the area, and they meet every month to quilt and learn new techniques. And most of all, they enjoy each other's company. So some even meet on Thursday mornings just to stitch and chat. But it's not just about making the quilts and having fun. These makers are also giving back in meaningful ways. They sew for people in need, like donating handmade quilts to families through local charities and creating cheerful pillowcases for kids at the Children's Hospital. And that's the UPMC Children's Hospital. At their anniversary dinner, they were honored by their local senator's office for their service and the impact. And get this, 4 of the original founding members are still part of the group today. Isn't that amazing? I think that's awesome. Okay, so the next story that we have, it's all about love, it's all about resilience, and the magic of sewing. So we have a story here, and as the mother of an autistic child, this really touched my heart. So, Brisha Herbert, who's a student at El Camino College in California, just won a life-changing fashion scholarship. Now, her journey started in a beautiful and meaningful way over 10 years ago. She began sewing as a way to bond with her young daughter, who had been diagnosed with nonverbal autism. Now, they stitched and bonded with fabric and color, and that spoke louder than words can imagine. So let's fast forward to today. Her daughter is now thriving. She's talking, learning, and even winning awards at school. And she is turning her sewing skills into a full-blown dream career. She joined fashion classes at her college. She learned advanced techniques, and now she's designing bridal gowns, corsets, and more. Can you imagine? That's amazing. Now, she's heard about the scholarships from a teacher, and she didn't apply, but she pushed past the doubt and went for it, and she won. She hopes that one day she wants to sell her bridal designs online. Isn't that amazing? I mean, gosh, that's just something that, you can really help out with people from all over the world. No matter what their abilities are, there's a place for everyone. You just have to figure out what it is. So awesome, awesome. Okay, so that is our crafty news for today. So now let's get to it. So I want to bring over two things. Just have this little ruler over here to the side. I wanted to let you know about another book that's out here. It's called Quilted Skinnies for All Season. And it's another applique type of book. It's very similar to the one that we're doing, where the pattern layouts, are the applique steps are in here, and it's got the shapes and things that you can do. And you can kind of use your scan and cut if you have one to scan these in. But you can make really nice little wall hangings. And they've got this little chicken one that I just thought it was so adorable. Love that one. But it's got 10 different really quick and easy projects. They're all little wall hangings that you can do. And they've got them for like all kinds of seasons. And I thought that they were really cute. And I thought, perfect for the summer, right? And I thought this would be nice to kind of mention to let you guys know this book is out there, because it's got some really cute options on here. The chickens kind of just do it for me. That just, speaks to me. You've got a little pumpkin here that I thought was really cute. You've got the Halloween with a little ghost. I thought that's adorable. Some more pumpkins for the fall. So if you're looking for something a little bit different to kind of do like quick little projects, little wall hangings, little gifts that you can make, maybe something you can sell, these are some pretty nice options. So this book is relatively cheap. It's by Annie's Quilting. It's an Annie's Quilting series, and it's called Quilted Skinnies for All Season. It's by Marge Yearly. I'll kind of put that for you here. And I did get this off of Amazon, so you can just look it up on Amazon. Yeah, love the chickens. I do too. Something about these chickens just really do it for me. I love them. So yeah, really, really cute. But they have some really cute ones. If you guys want to check that out, just go ahead and look at Amazon. You should be able to find it there. So I did pull that out. Not sure if I'm going to do one just yet. I'll have to see, because my backlog is getting kind of heavy over there. So, okay, now let's go back to our book. We are going to be working on the second technique, which is the spray starch applique. Any of the designs would be great templates for painting scenes on the wood or media. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Okay, so I'm going to put this, actually I need the little acorn here. Okay, so this is done a little bit differently than the first method that we did, the needle turn. All right, so this is the spray starch applique. So I'm going to start doing the same thing that I did the first time. I'm going to take my pattern again, because it was back in the book and got folded up again. So I am going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and iron this. Connie says, is that book still available? Yes, I believe so, Connie. I mean, I just recently purchased it, so you should be able to find it right on Amazon. And let me know, can you use the leaves from that book for your acorn? Yeah, I probably could. I know the Scan and Cut has a couple of them as well. So I could probably either use that or just use some of the leaves from here. You can definitely mix and match different ones. I can probably even get some from this book because the Pumpkin Hill also has a bunch of leaves and things. So yeah, or you could just draw your own, right? I don't know if I'm that artistic, but we'll see. So what I'm doing here is just kind of ironing the crease out on the actual pattern. That just makes it a little bit easier and flatter for me to be able to do the, trace the drawing on here. So let's see. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and open this up a little bit here. And I'm going to kind of turn it this way, because I'm really just focused on the acorn here. Let's see if I can turn on my little light box. And I'm going to take a piece of freezer paper, very similar to what we did before. But remember, when we did the freezer paper method the first time, we put the freezer paper with the shiny side down and we traced it out on the dull side. Well, this technique actually is the opposite. You want to flip that freezer paper over and you want to trace it on the shiny side, which is a little bit different. So that's what the book is saying to do. So let's go ahead and flip it to our shiny side here. And we're just going to go ahead and trace that. And I'm not sure if you guys could see that. I think I'm at my brightest setting. Yeah, this is the brightest I can go. And it's kind of hard for you guys to see it, but I can see it. I can clearly see the outline of the acorn. And it's going to be a little difficult to draw on the shiny side. So yeah, pencils are not going to work. So what you're going to probably need to do is grab some markers. If you've got little Sharpies or something like that, that will work. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one. And let's see if we can get this to work better. There we go. Now, I probably would prefer to use something with a little bit of a finer tip, but that's okay. This will work for now. And here we are. Then we'll go ahead and do the other side. Just tracing that. Just kind of adjust yourself. And then on the top here, again, they have a little dotted line to close up the shape. So I'm going to go ahead and use the dotted line as well. And you got to kind of be careful because you're using the shiny side of this paper, if you pass a little bit of your hand or whatever, like it'll bleed. So you got to kind of be a little careful because you are dealing with the shiny side. And it can, if you can smudge it very easily. So yeah, different method. I kind of like doing it on the dull side better, but so you do have to be careful with that. So this is the first piece right here. Then I'm just going to move this over and then do the topper. And I'm going to try not to touch this side because if I do rub my fingers or anything against this, I can see this kind of moving. So actually I'm going to move it, kind of be out of the way and see if I can just do it this way instead. So I'm going to go ahead again on the dotted line and then just kind of stay there. There we go. And then of course you have the little tiny stem. So you're just going to draw that out too. Okay, so those are our shapes. And I buried the book somewhere in here. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and fold this back up. See if we can get this out of the way. And so here we are. If you're following me along, this is the step that we're on. So we're on the spray starch applique, and we went ahead and we traced it on the shiny side of the freezer paper. Now, what it's telling you to do, and I lost my other piece, so I'm just going to, oh, I think I see it. There we go. It got away from me. We've got a second piece of freezer paper, and what you're going to do is basically build a little sandwich of this. So, a little bit odd, but we're going to take this, and we're going to build a sandwich with it. Okay? So it tells you right here on the instructions, it does say to press the traced pattern shiny side down onto the dull side of another piece of freezer paper. So you're basically making a little freezer paper sandwich. So we've drew on this shiny side. Here's my second piece of freezer paper, and this is the dull side. And let me just turn this down. There we go. So this is the dull side, and you're just basically going to make a little sandwich with this. And we're going to take this over to the iron, and we're going to iron this down. Shiny side to dull side. Okay? And we're going to fuse basically these two pieces together. So hold on, because I think I undid. Did I undo it? Yes, I did. Well, let me use this one. I'm going to flip this over here. Is it still a little warm? Okay. Something happened and my thingy got unplugged. Okay, so what we're going to do is just kind of bring these together. So I'm just going to slip this underneath. And this is pretty thick, guys. I'm using the edge-to-edge cutting mat. They do have another mat that you can iron on it. This is not the one, but because my ironing board is pretty thick, and I'm not going to be on here very long, I won't damage my mat. So just a note on that one. Okay, we're going to start with this big one right here. And I'm going to go ahead and iron this to create my little sandwich. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow what we traced on the shiny side to stay inside, and it's going to create our little template here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press this out. And it gets quite hot, guys, because it is paper, not fabric. So just be a little careful with that. And let me just move this over. Okay. And I'm going to do the other two pieces as well. And it's going to want to kind of stick to your little ironing board, but it's just freezer paper, so it comes right back off. So don't worry about it. Okay, so we've got this all ironed out. Move this over. And now you're going to just grab your little scissors here. And it does tell you to cut out the shapes on the traced lines. So a little bit different from the first method, where the first method we cut out our shape, but we left a 1/4 inch seam. This method is telling you to cut right on the line. So we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just cut out little pieces, get my chunks out first, so I don't have to deal with too much here. Just kind of breaking it down so you can deal with smaller chunks, makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to just cut right on the line as indicated. And then just go ahead and start. You can do curvy things. And if you don't like the way you traced it out, you can always change it up while you're cutting it too. Just be careful with that. I mean, worst case, just grab another freezer paper and start over, right? So we're just going to cut this piece out. We go in a little bit, and I'm going to cut a little bit more off of the top. Okay, there we go. Let's put this over to the side. Okay, so I've got my little shape here, and you know, it's a little bit tougher. A little bit feels like cardboard almost, so I actually like that right off the bat. That's pretty neat. It feels a little bit more secure for me to be able to fold my fabric with this. So now it's telling you, after you've cut this out, we're going to be moving over to the next page. And so it's basically telling you to press your applique shape to the wrong side of your fabric. So we're going to go ahead and take a piece of fabric, and I'm just going to pick this one. And first of all, mine has a bunch of wrinkles, so I'm just going to come over to the side, and I'm just going to press those wrinkles out really quick, just to kind of get it out of the way. I don't really think I need to, because this applique piece is really small, but I like to work with like flat fabric, right? And I'm just going to line this up on top here, just so I have a base, and then I can cut this piece off. So I'm just going to cut that piece of fabric. That's all we're going to need. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut just what I need. And I can use all this other fabric for a different project. So, or maybe to add more acorns for something else. So we'll see about that. Okay. So now here we are. The book is telling us, this is the right side of the fabric. Here's the wrong side of the fabric. We want to kind of adhere this to the wrong side of the fabric. So this is what we're going to do, and place our little applique shape on here, and we're going to press this down. Okay, so let me move this back over again. Wrong side of the fabric facing up, and applique with the shiny side facing down. So we're basically going to adhere the two together. So let's go ahead, hit it with the iron, fuse that in place. Okay, and there we have our little piece here fused to the fabric, and this is what we're going to use for our acorn. Now, this is where it becomes a little bit different. It is going to tell you to grab some starch. The book is talking about Mary Ellen's Best Press, so I do have a little bit of that here, and that's what I'm going to be using. I grabbed a little tiny container. I couldn't find my really, really small one, so I'm just going to use this. And I'm just going to open this and pour just a little bit into the container. You don't need like a whole ton of it. I'm just doing a few drops. And then you're going to take a little paintbrush and dip it in to that spray starch. Okay. And I'm going to bring this back over because I'm going to do this right on top here. Now, before I do that, this is a lot of bulk, and I definitely don't want to have to fold over all this bulk right here. Can you guys see that? Let me move over a little bit. So I definitely don't want all of this bulk to be folded over and, kind of working with all this. So I want to kind of eliminate as much bulk as I can. So I am still going to go around and cut, leaving about a 1/4 inch. You don't want to cut too close to the applique shape, because then you don't have anything to fold over, and it's going to make it more difficult to kind of bring it over. So just leave yourself a decent amount. A 1/4 inch is fine. If you want to do a little bit more, you can. I'm going to do probably between 1/4 and 1/2, let's just say. Just an amount that would make it easy for me. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut that all the way around. Now, I know that top part, which is the flat, since it's really just a straight line, that's going to be an easy fold to make. So I'm good there. Don't have to worry about that. But the curves is what makes it a little difficult sometimes to do that turn. So you do have to be a little bit careful with that. I think that's good enough. Okay, so now this method, what it's telling you to do, if you have a stiletto, go ahead and take that out, and then take your brush, and you're going to take your brush and you are going to just put your basically paint your fabric. It's almost what I want to say. You're going to paint the edges, not where the actual freezer paper is, but you're going to put some starch right on the edge. And I do a little bit more than I wanted to because I want you guys to really see that. Do you see where I am putting the starch? It's only on the edge of that fabric, that 1/4 inch that you left out. Just go ahead and paint, use your paintbrush and apply the starch right on the edge. Okay. Then using your stiletto, we're going to take this and fold the fabric over onto the freezer paper. Use your fingers. Use the stiletto to hold it down if you'd like. And then you're going to take your iron and you're just going to iron that on here. Okay. And that iron, between the heat of the iron and the starch, is just going to fold the fabric and put the fibers in its place, where it's going to hold and maintain that shape. So you see how now, if I lift this up, I've got that nice flat edge, and you can see here how it's pretty flat, right? It's not sticking and folding over. So I like the fact that it will hold it down and maintain that base shape. And I like that you have the template behind it, and it's thick enough, because you made it into that sandwich, it's thick enough that it allows you to kind of just fold over the fabric and maintain that base shape. So it's a little bit easier, and I see why this book is saying that this is more the beginner-friendly style, because it allows you to keep that template in place and use that as your base to fold the fabric over. Where on the needle turn applique, you don't have the template underneath helping you to mold that shape, right? You have to kind of do it with your hands, just kind of using that 1/4 inch, and you don't have anything underneath to kind of help. So this is definitely a better beginner-friendly type of project to help you really maintain that base shape. It is a little bit more steps, if you will, but I think the results is actually going to be a little better than my first one. So I'm going to go ahead and continue now with my starch. Now, at some point, you do have to pull out your template, right? So that is going to happen, but I'm going to keep it in as long as possible to be able to kind of fold this over into the shape that I want. The other thing that you can do, since this is very curvy, right, on here, you're going to want to take your scissors and do a couple of slips. Just little tiny little slips here, because you're dealing with a curve, and this will allow you to kind of manipulate the fabric and getting it to twist and turn the way you want it to. So just go ahead and cut little slits, right? Just little tiny slips so that you can move the fabric around, okay? You can see here all the little slits that I cut there. This is going to make it a lot easier for me to do. And then when I have this, using the stiletto, I can hold it down here and then bring my iron in and just press it. And you can just use your little tip of the iron to hold it down. Okay. And then you can just kind of keep going everywhere where you have the starch. And that just kind of really holds it in place. And you can see it starting to take that shape. And it's kind of, if you cut it, the template correctly, and you have a nice line and shape that you like, folding over the fabric is a little easier to do it versus the other method where you're kind of just doing it without something that you can fold over. So it does make it a little easier here. So now I'm going to go ahead, just grab a little bit more starch and just continue to kind of go around. But the starch, I think, really does help. It really does help. And then you can see here, you got little pieces. You'll want to hold them down and then bring your iron. I think that's good. And it really does help to keep it in place. And then we've got our bottom portion here that we're going to fold over. Hold that in place again. Bring the little iron in. And then we'll do the same thing with the other side. And then once we've done that, we're going to come in here and we're going to take off the freezer paper. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply the rest of this here. And I'm just going to go all the way up to the top. Okay, and then with the stiletto, I will go ahead and I'm going to do one more little slip here, right on the edge. There we go. So I've got one going one way, and then I've got the new side going the other. So I want to kind of put that on top and leave the little stiletto there to kind of just hold it in place for me. It's kind of hard because I'm left-handed, so we'll see if it holds it in place a little bit. There we go. Not too bad. Okay, and then just keep going around, folding it in place. And you're going to do this with each of the pieces that you have. There we go. And then you can kind of use the iron as well to kind of help fold it over. And then I'm getting towards this very end. I'm going to add a little bit more starch over here, right on the end, and make sure that I got that in place. Okay. Now, what you can do is turn it around, right side up. Take a look at what you have folded, and everything should be nicely folded and tucked underneath. I'm going to grab the iron and just iron it right on top here. That'll help to remove the freezer paper. Okay, just give it a nice big press with just a little bit of pressure. Okay, just give it a minute to cool down. And then I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to try to find an area, depending on the shape that you're cutting out, try to find a flat area. So I'm going to use this top area here that's flat. I'm going to just unfold it a bit, and I'm going to just kind of reach in and stick my finger in there and just try to pull this out. There we go. And so it kind of maintained that shape, and then you want to go back and just press it again with your iron. Try to just pat it, just picking up the iron and putting it down. And then flip it over and give it one more press from the top. And there you go. We've got our little bottom portion of our little acorn. And I actually like this method a little better than the first one, because I thought this one was a little bit easier for me to keep the shape that I really wanted. I found it to be a little bit easier. It is a little bit more clunkier because you do have extra steps. Now, the book also tells you that if you want, you can take some pieces of glue and just do little dots of glue to hold this in place. But actually with the starch, I really didn't even need to do that. It held pretty well. But it also depends on the object that you're doing. You know, the smaller they are, you know, the more difficult it can be. So you could use the glue to kind of hold it down. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and apply it on the bottom. And then on Monday, I can show you guys the completed portion of it. So I don't know which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the needle applique or do you prefer the spray starch method? So it's two different methods. One's a little different than the other. They both give you the same results in the end, but, you know, different ways of doing it. So try them both out, see which one you like yourself, and let me know which one in the comments, or, you know, if you do it later on, let me know as well. And just let us know what your project looks like, because I'd love to see it. Okay. Oh, the first time you did this starch method, you left the freezer paper in the whole project, and it's still that way today. All right, Cindy. Well, you know, I guess you could, but you're gonna hear the crinkle of the paper, right? Oh no, I hope you didn't wash it. Wonder how did that do in the wash? Yeah, you definitely need to kind of take it out. But as you saw, you know, I did take it out and it wasn't too bad. I think the trick is finding a flat area or an area where it wasn't too bad to kind of fold over. And that's where you kind of just stick your fingers in and just kind of loosen it up a little bit and then pull it out. Because when you hit it with your iron from the top side, I think that kind of helps to take it out. Did I remove the freezer paper? Yes, ma'am. I did. This is the freezer paper right here in my hand. This is the actual fabric. So yeah, I did remove it. Just went in and pulled it out once I was done with all my curves. So I like that, you know, you still are able to maintain that base shape. Okay. So we are getting towards the end. So let's move over to our, excuse me, inspirational quote of the day. Okay, so today's quote of the day is, every method taught is a gift. Every technique learned is a new path forward. And that's exactly what we did today. We've got some new methods we're trying out. And, you know, depending which method you take, it's whatever, you know, kind of speaks to you and what is easier for you to get that project done. So, yeah. Oh, no, do not leave it in. And yes, I have never washed it. Okay, awesome. So yeah, you don't want to leave your freezer paper in for sure. You do want to pull it out because you'll have that crinkly paper sound behind it. And then if you ever were to wash it, you know, it probably will fall apart in the wash. So, alrighty. Excuse me. You like the spray starch? You're going to try that one? Yeah. Yeah, I think the spray starch kind of worked for me, but, you know, let me know what you guys think. All right, we are at our hour, and I know we want to go ahead and log into Power Tools with Red. She's getting ready to do her show, so I hope you guys are able to tune in and support her as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and just watching me on my journey. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
My crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.